Welcome to The Verdict. Tom Feher is an award-winning trial lawyer who knows there is more to our stories than what you see on the surface. He has built his law firm, Feher Law, into one of the top injury and employment trial firms representing people in California. Join us each week as Tom explores the successes, challenges, and lessons learned from some incredible people. Hit subscribe, follow Feher Law on Facebook and Instagram, and let's get to the verdict. And now, here is your host, Tom Feher.
All right, everybody, welcome to The Verdict. Today, we welcome twin sisters, Kamryn Villegas and Whitney Kumar, founders of KW Court Reporting. They are two of the best court reporters in the legal industry and have worked on high-profile cases involving pop star Britney Spears, or I guess former pop star, former owner of the Dodgers, Frank McCourt, actor Mel Gibson, and many, many more. Welcome to The Verdict, both of you. It's great to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Thank you, Tom.
It's really good to be here. Oh my gosh, you know what? We are identical twins, so you're probably going to get a lot of finishing each other's sentences. So I'm just
we need to work on that.
I was going to say, do I have to, as identical twins, am I going to have to direct the questions to one of you to make sure that doesn't happen?
No, we'll probably still finish each other's sentences. We were recently interviewed for a magazine about a court reporter's magazine, and pretty much every question we finished each other's sentence. At some point, the interviewer goes, "I don't even know why I'm here." Because we just, I don't even have to be here.
This is my first time interviewing twins, let alone identical twins. I don't know. Not a lot of people know what that's like. I mean, can you tell us just a little bit what it's like growing up having an identical twin? I mean, what was that like for both of you?
Tom, that's a really good question. That's like probably we could do an entire episode on just that question. But you know, I will say it was really awesome having someone by your side at all times, like having your partner in crime. I mean, we did everything together, so it gave us confidence.
Basically built with your best friend.
Yeah,
it's a built-in best friend.
And we did everything together, and I mean, we had so much fun. But you know, but we also fought a lot, and we make up a lot, and we're still best friends. And now we own a business together. I would say the downside of it is that we're not really. It's hard to be independent. It's hard to grow up and then all of a sudden create your own independence because it's just not part of our identity. And we've just always been dependent on each other. So that's definitely been something we've had to work on.
And I think that now that we have our own kids, there's something that I've noticed that I think how fortunate we were is I watch my son growing up or being nervous to put himself, go walk into somewhere he doesn't know, that nervous feeling kids get. Whitney and I didn't have that because we just had each other. So it's like if we were dropped off somewhere that was uncomfortable, it was like we were just linked together. It's like, okay, we can do this. We have each other. So I look at that now with my kids and think, God, like I didn't experience that. Whitney and I were always able to walk into a room and go, this is a little unsettling, a little nerve-wracking, but not really because it's, you know, Whitney's right here and we just kind of like linked to each other. So I think, oh, how lucky is that? And even in business, when we first started, surprisingly, people wouldn't think this, but Whitney and I are pretty shy. So we don't like to go out and ask for business. And we are very shy. So when we first started out there, we were very nervous to ask people for business and to introduce ourselves or tell people, hi, we started a new business. Would you like, it like made us uncomfortable. But there we were at our first event and we clung to each other like magnets. We were just like, we can do this. We can do this. So it helped.
What happens, I guess, when you are separated, though, and you have to go and speak somewhere or network or develop business and you're not together? What happens then?
Well, you know, I think it's gotten easier. I think that at first it was really hard and we were very tied to each other, and every event, every meeting, we had to be together. It was like, okay, when can you do this? We're doing this together. You're not available, then I'm not going to do it. Now, I think after being in business so many years, I think that's kind of been the beauty of starting a business, because we've really had to dig in and learn about ourselves and put ourselves out there when we've never had to before.
Yeah, we gained a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and so it's built confidence. You know, we're better speakers. We can do things. We know that we can do it on our own. So now I really have no problem going and doing a meeting by myself, we
go to events. Whitney lived in Seattle for a year, and I was like, okay, this is the first time I've had to go to events by myself. And at first I was a little nervous, but then it's like you gain confidence. you're confident in your business by then. It's not a new business anymore. You know more people. Also being court reporters, being able to rely on our skill and fall back on that. Like, people knew that we were both reporters, and some of the attorneys we already started working with as reporters. So it became easier. And now it's like, sometimes we go to events and we say hi to each other, and I don't see Whitney until the end of the night. We're just off on our own.
I can definitely empathize with just that feeling of maybe it's anxiety, but being in trial, if I'm alone or I'm doing it all by myself, there's a lot more pressure, and there's some fear, and you want to be able to have somebody as a sounding board and make sure, am I seeing what I'm really seeing? Is it just me? And to have that feedback. So, I mean, it's something that can be taxing if you're going about it, by yourself. So having both of you together running the court reporting business, I'm sure it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and I'm sure it helped that we were easily identified. The twins, it's like, what are they? A couple of identical twin court reporters starting a business. It was like, it did help our business, because it was like, you didn't have to keep reminding people who you were. You're like, you're the twin. You walk into an event and we're just like, so that helped.
So I'm curious, how is it that you two decided, and hey, we're going to become court reporters? I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of kids that necessarily grow up or dream about, and I'm not knocking the profession. It's incredibly hard. I can barely type. So I hand wrote the bar exam, but how is it that you decided, okay, this is what we're going to do, or this is what we want to become?
Yeah, I mean, it is this little hidden profession for sure. And I never knew anything about it. And it came about when I was in college and I was in a computer class, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, well, what can I do where I'm just typing all day? I mean, I said it just flippantly because I just loved being on the computer. I loved typing, and I loved words. I loved language. And she goes, you should be a court reporter. And I said, what the heck is a court reporter? And so she's like, oh, one of those people that write all those little machines in court. And I said, oh my gosh, I've never thought of that. Who are those people? And so we have he was a DA in downtown Los Angeles. And I called him up and I said, do you know anything about this profession, these court reporters? And he was like, oh my God, it's such a great profession. It's telling me all about it. I go, well, that sounds really interesting. So I went down, I found a local.
And our parents were not happy about it.
No. And so I went down, found out all about court reporting, and I thought, God, that sounds so interesting. Like everything that I really wanted to do in a career. I mean, being part of like the legal system, this professional environment, and hearing things and learning things. I don't know, it just sounded so interesting. And I decided I want to do this. And I told my parents, and I mean, my mom almost cried. She was like, I just want my daughters to I just want them to get their degree and da, da, da. And I had to go. And at that time we said, yeah, we listened to our parents about everything. We were very good kids. And so it was like the first time I said, no, I'm going to do something that I want to do. And I went to court reporting school, and then soon after, Kamryn was like, well, that sounds
yeah, I was just in junior college, kind of bouncing around, wasn't sure what I want to do. And, Whitney and I were just like, attached to the hip. She's like, go to court reporting school. It's awesome. You'll love it. So she brought me along with it to school, and I just followed her around and sat with her to classes. And it looks like a courtroom. They read real transcripts and you're typing. And I just sat with Whitney next to her listening. Yeah. I was like, this is cool. This is better than the school I'm going to. Like a Chafee College or something. So I went that day. At the end of the day, Whitney walked me to the enrollment, center. And I was like, sign me up. I started like a month later. And
yeah, now we look back, we always laugh with our parents because like what we've done with our career and the path that it has taken us on. I always laugh and I always tease my mom. I always say, Mom, aren't you glad we didn't go get a normal degree?
Yeah, we're so proud. Like our parents are like crazy proud of us. Like they're just.
If this person had never come up to you, right, and said, hey, you should be a court reporter, was there something that you had in mind that you were going to do as opposed to this?
I mean, I hadn't had anything I didn't have anything solid in mind. I knew I just honestly, I was like, I'll just be a business major. I knew I wanted to work in a professional environment, and I didn't know what yet. So I was taking these.
Remember that time you tried to talk me into like getting into real estate, doing it together?
And I took commercial. I was going to,
and I was like, no, I think this doesn't sound like something I'd want to do.
Yeah, and
I was shy in sales. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to like go interact with people, which is probably very hard for people who know us to believe.
I know.
We are not considered shy people.
Yeah, I don't know. So for court reporting ended up being something that kind of was everything that I was looking for. And I didn't even know that that was what I wanted yet, but I knew I wanted something in a professional environment. I wanted to make a difference. And I wanted just to be a part of something special and make change. And I definitely found that in this profession.
Yeah.
What, so I guess a lot of people, when they think of a court reporter, it's just, you're just sitting there and typing, but to the layperson or the person that isn't in the legal industry, what's something that you've found or learned just by being a court reporter that you did not expect at all? And you're just like, wow, that was something that I didn't expect. And it actually was a rewarding experience just being in this industry.
Well, I think that now that we've been doing this, we've been thrown into a lot of different cases and learned things that we would have, most people in their lifetime would probably never get to learn or hear about. So, you know, we're taking testimony of experts in all kinds of fields. I mean, I feel like we're mini experts in a lot of different things.
Yeah. We talk about stuff. It's like, I do know a little bit of this because I sat in many expert depositions of this, or I've sat in this, some of the most random things you hear, or exciting things, or, you know, intense things you get to be a part of. So many different.
So you're learning all these different things. And then your transcripts that you're making are ending up creating laws. I mean, they're used to create laws. People are going back and reading these transcripts, and that feels really good to us that we are kind of shaping history, that we're part of it, you know. And then we also get to hear things that I think people don't realize. Like we mentioned all these celebrity cases and big cases that we've done. You know, we are the people that get to go back in the chambers and get to hear all these very, very intimate details that I don't think people realize. And we walk back out in that courtroom, and I will take this stuff to my grave, the things that I know. And so I don't think people realize the things that
he does tell me
here, you know, and so we get to be a part of really, really interesting things.
And another note, I guess going into it, you don't realize how naive the attorneys are. I mean, you would think we all work together as a team and we're all in it together in this legal profession. I mean, you go to depo, you can't do it without us, you know, and we can't do it without you. But yet I graduate from school, passed the state test going, I could not believe how naive or how like people were not educated on what a court reporter does or what it takes to become one. I would have attorneys go, so how long does it take you to go? It's like 6 months. I go, most people go to school longer than attorneys go to. Our state test has a lower pass rate than your test has. And the percentage of court reporters out there, it is harder to become a reporter. And most reporters are in school for 5 years on average, not longer. Wow. Some never pass the state test. And our state test is single digit pass rates. So to become a court reporter, we are very highly skilled, and it took us years to become this. And the longer we do it, the better we become, because we do sit in on more expert depositions. We do learn how to write better and build our dictionaries. So when an attorney, you know, puts us down or says we like, you know, they don't want to pay us a certain fee, you know, it's like we've gone to school just as long as you. And when we report longer, we become better reporters for you. We're better writers for you. We can get your transcripts faster. And they don't want to pay more for that, but we're, you know, and it's really surprising how just uneducated they are to what it takes to become a reporter and what it takes to like hone in on that skill and to become better, and why you pay more for a better reporter. And I've had people ask me, so you're court reporting now, but what do you plan to do after? Like what, like this is like almost like like a retail job. Like, yeah, like you're going to go to school to become something better or bigger. And I'm like, what we do is just as important. You can't do what you're doing without us. So I don't know why you would think, you know, so there's a lot of things. I guess when I left was like how hard it was to become this, and then really kind of be put down by attorneys a lot, like we were secretaries. I've had them ask me, can you get me coffee? I'm like, no. I'm not. I've literally had attorneys ask me that. I'm like, no, I'm not your secretary. I'm just as important in this room as you are. And, so that is something I think when we didn't know, I thought, wow, this is great. I'm in the legal field. We're all equals. No, we're not looked at like that,
Yeah. Well, the transcripts are sacred. They're when somebody's testifying, they're literally taking an oath, swearing on a Bible or not, or just, swearing to tell the truth. And
we give that oath. Yeah.
Yeah. You're the one that administers that oath. That's right. And we just obviously saw a high profile trial, and it's a huge drama, these cases. And I always look at trial as it's a search for truth and revealing the truth.
Right.
And you are there being a part of it and listening to all this and making sure that everything that's being said by anybody, a judge, a juror, any witness, an attorney, it's all being transcribed and it's all in the record. It's not just a video of
the record.
Yeah.
So that, we are guarding that record. That will last forever.
Do you ever get invested in the stories that are happening? Do you ever find yourself, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, or I feel so bad? Does that ever happen?
Oh yeah. Every reporter. Yeah.
You can't help it. Even though, we can't talk about it and we're a neutral, unbiased party. You can't help what's you're hearing. And the thing is, we get to hear it from start to finish. And so, yeah, you get invested. I've been in trials and it's hard. You get choked up and you don't.
I had a human trafficking, this woman it was a human trafficking case. And she was now suing the people who had brought her over here this as a nanny, but they kind of enslaved her here. But she was giving her testimony what it was like to be there. And I was in a deposition. And I remember her just she was like, I want to read what I wrote this down, my thoughts. And I remember just listening and holding back tears and feeling I can't show how I feel, because I need to just be neutral. But everybody in the room is crying. And I have to be stoic. I have to be there. But you get so invested. And I would kind of go to this case, and it's really hard. You do get invested and you feel for these people and you see. And a lot of times when the attorneys go out of the room to go talk, you're sitting there kind of fixing your transcript, and then the witness is next to you and they're talking to you, and you're just kind of you do get emotionally tied to them sometimes.
Get invested.
Yeah, you do.
Invested. By the time that verdict is read, you feel something, and you're definitely you feel it.
You kind of want it to go a certain way, but you just can't say it. You can't act like it.
Yeah, I can't imagine how many different stories, human lives, that you have experienced over your career. We see how hotly contested issues are and how much comes out in trials. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's like you don't ever need to read a book or watch a movie again. You've seen the human condition, the human story time and time and time again played out. Not only are you experts now, or many experts, because you've listened to all of these different experts in all sorts of fields, but just understanding humanity and seeing it play out.
Yeah. And, we also get to see so many of these storytellers, these attorneys. I've been a reporter for 16 years and I've experienced so many attorneys. And that's also a really fascinating part of the career for me, is getting to see all these different attorneys and how they tell the story. And I sit there and for weeks in a trial, over the last 16 years, I'm in courtroom after courtroom or depot after depot. And you really get to see how this works. The best storytellers, you get to see this. And that's been really fun, and getting to watch attorneys who are so good and gifted and and skilled at their craft. So that's been really fun for us to watch.
It is. And when we get together with our court reporters, we host court reporting events, fellow reporters, and it is interesting because some of the attorneys you meet, you're like, wow, they're so intelligent, they're so smart. But then you put them on the record and you're like, what the hell? What happened? They're horrible on the record. You talk to them, you're like, they're so smart, they're great. Then you see them on the record, and I'll be texting me like, oh my God. And all in court reporters, we all talk. It's like, it's not good on the record. It's not
Yeah, it takes a skill. It definitely
it's a
takes a skill. And
there's
so I
different
would say,
skills in attorneys, and that is a skill to be a storyteller. And you might not be
yes.
the best at this part of that of being a lawyer, but storytelling and conveying that story is a whole separate skill, you know.
I mean, I think you could talk to your court reporter,
Utilize that.
after a trial and say, I think your court reporter is going to be your best ally. Talk to them and say, what could I have done better? What did I do? How did you think did I get this message across? Because I felt that I was. Did you see that? Because we're there sitting through the whole thing. So talk to your court reporter after trial. Get some.
Yeah, what did you think? Why do you think they went this way? Because when we get together with our court reporters, we talk about the cases because we might all be working on the same case together, or we've worked with the same attorneys. And we'll say, don't you love that attorney? Like he could have done so much better with, like this. And we know because some of these reporters have been reporting for 20 plus years, and we can sit there and tell you, this is why this attorney did a lot better than you. We watched the whole thing. And plus we've worked with you guys before, and you could really utilize the reporter more than what most attorneys think. They kind of think we're the fly on the wall but we know, we see it. We're watching it every day. It's what we do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that you say that. There's a lot of podcasts or webinars about like lawyers teaching lawyers how to be lawyers and how to be trial lawyers. And the first people that I generally ask are anybody that's not a lawyer.
No, exactly.
Like, I don't want to ask a lawyer. I want to ask
someone who could be on the jury. What did you think? We're just sitting there. We're observing. We're not analyzing like an attorney how you could have changed this. We're observing and we're watching. And when he has trials, so she's looking at the jurors and you guys. So she has.
Yeah, I don't think that people realize that the court reporter is also right there. It's got the jury right behind them, and then you're in the hallways. You're in the elevators with them, and so at the end of a trial, if you talk to your reporter, I think they're going to be your best. They're going to be your best friend. Find out where you could have done better. I do think. I mean, listening to very good attorneys speak and teach you how they're doing their trials is fantastic. But they're going to talk about their style and how they do it. Obviously, if you're talking to a neutral person that watched this whole thing unfold, I don't think enough attorneys take advantage of that.
And Tom, I'm going to switch this to a really funny twin story real quick because this popped in my head.
All right.
I'd like to share this.
I thought Whitney was going to share it now that it popped in your head, so I'm sure she knows what it is.
Whitney, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. So when I was a brand new court reporter, I was doing depos, but I got asked to do a trial. And I was like, I don't do court stuff. But somehow they needed to request a reporter in a courtroom that doesn't have a court reporter. He's like, just do it. It's right across the hall from my courtroom where she was working in court. Because she was at that time working for LA Superior. We can drive in together. You can spend the night at my house. I'll make us coffee. It'll be easy. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I was so new. So I show up. She's like, there's not going to be a jury. It'll be easy. I show up. We go on the record. I'm so nervous. And then the judge comes in and after we're talking, goes, okay, we're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to do jury selection. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. So I run to Winnie's courtroom. She gives me a quick, run through how to do it. We go to her office. We go back. Anyways, the week goes by, I do the trial, and I'm leaving the courthouse. I'm going down the elevator, and all the jurors from my courtroom were in the elevator with me. And they were like fascinated by me. They always look at what I was doing, and you could tell. And then they go, we have to ask you something. Why did you change your clothes so often? And I was like, what? They're like, we would see you at lunch wearing a different outfit. And then you came back to court. And I was like, oh, I wasn't changing my outfit. That was my identical twin who works in the courtroom across the hall. They're like, why were you always changing your clothes at lunch? I was like, oh, that was my twin. And they thought I was kidding, but I was like, no, I really have a twin that works across that courtroom as a court reporter as well.
Can you imagine like what they're thinking? Like, that is just bizarre. She keeps
it's just
changing
so weird
into and out of her outfit.
And she's changing into like another professional outfit and heels. It's not even like a comfortable, like, leisure wear. It was like.
That's great. That's hilarious. When you mentioned about trial lawyers being, or at least the good ones being storytellers, I'm just curious because you hear from all these other lawyers what they think is good or not. I mean, what do you think makes an effective trial lawyer when they're representing someone and telling their stories?
I think for me, when I've the best lawyers that I think I've seen, what makes them great is they have a little bit of charm. You just can't get away from it. They have a little charm where they can connect to the jury.
They're
And
relatable.
They're relatable and likable. And I can see, I look at the jurors and you can see them kind of smiling like, I get it. This woman, man, is talking like my language. I get it. Yeah. And then just being able to getting to evoke this empathy from everyone. I think that I think a lot of times I see attorneys, especially on the defense side, they get really aggressive and they get kind of mean and they cut people off and they're talking down to the witnesses on the stand. And that I can tell you, juries hate that. And so the best attorneys I know, I think just always have this level of respect that they show towards everyone. And I think the jury receives that really well. And I think they make a really good record so that everybody always knows what's going on. The judge can understand, the jury can understand. There's no fast talking and talking over each other and being like this bulldog. I think some attorneys think, I gotta be a bulldog. I'm gonna be aggressive in there and, show them what's up. And I just don't think that ever works. The best attorneys, in my opinion, are always the ones that are relatable, likable, make a good record, show respect. Yeah. So I would say, for me, those make the best attorneys.
Like when you said just relatable, and I think people who are good attorneys and good at what they do is being able to read people. Mm-hmm. And if I've been in a deposition, like Whitney said, they're going to be an attorney that every time I work with them, they're aggressive. I know that that's just, the depo is going to be contentious. They're going to go hard. And which is effective with some witnesses. But a lot of times I see when they read the person and they're good at reading people, they can sit down and go, this person, this is not going to go well with this kind of person. And they treat them with respect. And they're like, you're good. Did you need a break? Do you want coffee? And they're really respectful of that person. They start to feel more open in answering the questions and they get a little more open. But sometimes you go in and every time you're aggressive, some people just shut down. They're like, F you. I'm not answering that. And they're just really, they don't give you everything because they don't like you and they don't want to. And I think sometimes they look at an attorney and I think, why just relax? Like you can get this person, you can probably get more out of them if you ease up a bit. And I think when I work with an attorney is sometimes, they're really good readers of people. They can see this is what I need to do to get the most out of this witness. And I think that, that is so important, is being able to read the room, read the person you're working with and adapt to that. And that's really crucial, I think, in getting what you need from someone.
Yeah, that's actually amazing advice. And sometimes I wish I would have heard that my first year practicing.
And I did one of your first trials, Tom.
Yeah. We both worked with Tom.
It's true, because I think when you come out of law school, they don't teach you any of this stuff in law school. You just get your head buried in a book, and it takes time. I think a lot of younger lawyers feel that they need to maybe be more assertive because they're younger. They may not get respect and whatnot. And so I'm going to show myself and how tough I am. And that really ends up backfiring. So some sage advice from you two, having seen so many attorneys do this. I want to kind of switch into, I know you started as court reporters, but then eventually you started your own company. How did that come about?
You know what? There was the layoffs, the budget cuts in, what was it? Almost 10 years ago now. I can't believe it. I'd been working at LA Superior Court and all these budget cuts started happening, and they decided to lay off all the court reporters in civil courtrooms, and they were going to privatize it. And so I just was about to hit that 5-year mark, and we all got wiped out. We all were laid off, and I was devastated. I honestly, I thought that's where I was going to retire. This was my happy place. I loved working in court. I loved my judge, my little court family. And so then but because of all the network that I had built and the people I knew and everything, I started working right back in court, but now I was just getting paid by the attorneys. And then all of a sudden I found that all these big agencies, these nationwide agencies were calling me to ask me, how do we bill? How do we do this? How does an appeal work? How do we, they'd never touched this. And so that's when I thought, well, why am I helping out these big agencies? Why don't we do this ourselves? So I called up Cameron. I go, what do you think?
Well, I had already kind of started thinking about I want to go on my own. I'd asked a couple friends that were court reporters about starting our own agency. And when Whitney got laid off, I asked her if she'd be interested. And she said, I don't know, because if they hire back, I'm going back. She's like, so I don't know if I want to start an agency, because if they call me back, I'm going to go back, Cameron. I just want you to know that. And so I got nervous. And at some point our agency was going, but when he got like a letter, right, from a different courtroom.
Well, this was months into it. Federal court was hiring. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll go back to court. I didn't thought I was ever going to go back until that letter.
Yeah. But so then we were like talking and we're like, okay, we can do this. Like I had already been doing depos. I wasn't that happy freelancing. I thought I want to do something else. And when Whitney got laid off, it felt like a real opportunity for both of us. Whitney didn't really want to freelance either.
Decided to go for it. We just started, just the two of us. Just Cameron was doing the depos. I started doing trials, and we just started
very organic.
We just started doing everything our own and billing and figuring things out. And we knew nothing about business. And I mean, nothing. It never even crossed our mind to start our own business. And so
anything about business.
So when this happened, should we do it? This is uncomfortable, and let's just see. So we'll figure it out as it goes. And so we did, and we were doing everything out of our garage. Then we got like a business phone number, and now we're on the record and we're seeing calls are coming in. So then we hire our cousin to come in and help us. And then we get a little office, and then little
$350 a month. And I was surrounded by homeless people, and it was like the size of a closet.
I mean, you should have seen how we started. And but we just did it, and we just were like, we're gonna make this work. And if it's just you and me forever, just taking our own clients and not working for
or anybody else. We're like, me and Whitney, we're like, we can do this. We're just gonna take everything. And we might be stuck in this little dump of this office, but we don't answer to anybody. And so like Whitney said, we're like, we have that. We don't answer to anybody. And then we were like, we started getting bigger and bigger. We're like, this is happening.
Yeah, and we did, and we grew, and we, and now here we are. We don't report as much. I mean, well, Cameron hasn't reported in a while. I take a trial here and there now, but I mean, we have a very good, thriving business.
And Whitney, like you said before the podcast, that we say yes to everything. I will say when we were not business people at all. And so we would go take a depo, and usually we would take a depo and then email it to our agency. And then after that, we're like, hey, this was a weird special request, but that's on you. I put it in the email. I don't know what to do. So we would get that. And it's like, we didn't know what the heck to do. We're like, yeah, we can do that. And we'd call each other like, what do we do? What does that mean? And we'd go do our research.
Yeah, and then you just take that leap, and we did it. Now here we are. We've got over 150 freelance court reporters that work for us. We've got 11 full-time employees. We've got this office in Irvine, and so we really did thrive. It ended up being a blessing in disguise.
We have so much fun together. It brought us a lot closer. I felt like, because Whitney was living in Pasadena, working for LA Superior Court, and I'm over here in Orange County, freelancing. And it's like we saw each other just every other weekend, maybe. Like we didn't see each other as much. And then with the business, I feel like it really brought our relationship closer. We have so much fun. We've made the most out of this profession, the most out of this career. We've met so many fun people along the way, and we really feel like we found something in this success, like we found ourselves, and something to be proud of, and something to show our kids that we built this, and that two women could build a successful career. And in the legal field, which is a male-dominated field, we feel pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty remarkable, though, where you're confronted with a layoff and you have no experience whatsoever running a business. And I think there's so many people out there that are, I mean, and it's normal to feel this way, are afraid to start their own business or to be an entrepreneur. or they're hit with bad luck or a layoff. And I remember when the courts, the huge budget cuts, and they freeze rather than taking it as an opportunity. And I think you put it, really, you said it really well. Just it ended up being like this amazing opportunity for you to, and that's amazing. What do you think? What are some things that I guess you learned along the way that, looking back in the last 10 years, you're like, these were like really important steps or important things to our success and our growth?
I think that for us, we really learned what works for us. I think when you start a business, you're kind of doing everything. You're out there trying everything to grow your business. And now I think almost 10 years into this, you start to go, well, what's working and what's not working? And I think that you start to go, why am I spending so much time doing, this? Get rid of it and do more of what is working. And so you find your strengths and you do that. And I think that in the beginning, I feel like we were just all over like, let's try this, let's try
all over
this.
the place. Yeah.
And then we found our strength. And I would say our strength is networking and also being adaptable, like when the pandemic happened and just we were kind of that young company that said, let's do this, it was exciting for us for the challenge of let's go to this remote world. So we kind of found technology and networking were sort of our thing, and
I great at networking.
Cut everything else out. And so I think that that's a big thing. I think any small business owner, stop trying to do everything. Find that one thing. Is it marketing? Is it networking? Is it SEO? Is it referrals? All that stuff. And you go, well, which one of these?
That's my strength.
Business. And then that's what you spend your time on.
And I think that, Whitney, wouldn't you agree that now that with time and knowledge, you start to realize in the beginning, Whitney and I would say, we would take on clients that we probably shouldn't have, that we're trying to lower our rates and jack them down. We were like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that. People who treated our reporters badly would get complaints, but it's like, we didn't want to lose this. We didn't want to lose this client. We thought every client, was the same. And I guess now looking back, what I tell people, if it doesn't feel right and it's not a good fit, cut them out. You'll get other clients. There are more clients out there. And now we're at the point where someone can come to us and it's like, they're trying to price gouge us, or they're trying to make us do this. We've had complaints with reports. They're out. We don't need you. We're good at what we do and we treat you well. And we know that now. We know our worth. You know your worth, and you go, I don't need that, and this doesn't feel right, then cut them loose. But in the beginning, I think you were like, oh, can't lose this client, we can't do that, and we would keep people around and work. You don't have to do that in business. If it doesn't feel right, then you don't need it.
I think that it's like identifying what kind of clients or what kind of business you want, identifying who are my ideal clients, who's my ideal customer. And then that's who you go after. And then anybody else, if it's not ideal, you don't need to just
not the end of the world.
Try to accommodate them. Go after the people that you want and build the business that you're trying to build. That you see yourself in the future, a sustainable long-term business. And go after those people.
Exactly.
That's a really great point. And you hear that sentiment said in a lot of different ways. Sometimes people will say, be around people that are positive, right? Get rid of the toxic people in your relationships because they'll just drain you of your energy. I mean, you hear that all the time, or if you're in a toxic relationship. And I remember being in high school watching the movie A Civil Action with John Travolta, and they're doing sort of the environmental case. And there was a quote in that movie, and it said something to the effect of, your success as a lawyer, or having a law firm or whatnot, it's not about the cases you take, it's about the cases you don't take. Yeah. And sometimes you can have a case that just, kills your firm, or basically, or if you have a client that is just, or a business partner, or, somebody that just can zap you of everything. And that's just so important to work with people.
True. And you don't know that when you're new. You feel like, oh, someone's calling, oh, they want us, and you just take it and you take them, and you don't have
It
to.
hurt us. It hurt us. I can't even
Yeah.
tell you how many people ended up, we made no money or lost money off of it. And
That's
you're
right.
trying
Yeah.
to recover and you end up, it's just, it can get awful. I mean, let me tell you, owning a small business,
Yeah.
the things that you have to encounter. But yeah, I mean, I think choose wisely, know who you want. I think that as a small business, you want to say yes to every little opportunity, but think long term. What do you want out of this? Who's going to, think of a sustainable business, think next 20 years. Who are your clients? What's your ideal client?
Yeah. There are obviously other court reporting agencies out there, I mean, throughout the nation. What do you think separates your company from a lot of the others?
We actually care about our clients.
Yeah, we care about our clients. We care about our
We
reporting.
love our clients.
Yeah, I mean, and that exactly. So we are very, very customer service oriented. And I think because we've been in this business for so long, and some of our best friends now are attorneys, and being court reporters ourselves and seeing what the client needs when they're in trial or in a depot, and it's that high stakes, high pressure situation. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, you know what? We're going to be that support for our clients. And that is why we grew so much and so fast when we did, because we just cared so much. So if you can call us literally 24/7 anytime, and we will be there for you. We get it. We'll never be like, phones are turned off. Sorry, after business hours. We've always been those people like, we get it.
You know us, and you know a lot of people who know us. Whitney and I, you know how much love we have for every one of our clients. Like we really care about them. It's like, it's a different feeling working for us. Like even working with us, it's like, if you're with us, it's like, oh, you're working with the twins. Oh, it's like because you feel that we're like family. We're all friends. That's how that's just how our personalities are. And that's how we are. So I think I think it's completely different than working with
you're working just like call center, and you're getting on the court, calls. And if you want, a little specialized this, or you need this, or you're going to need it by this day, or I've got this weird request. I kind of want the video shot in this way. Okay, let me talk to my videographer. Let's set this up. And so I think that's what made us different in the beginning, and it still makes us different. I think that now with the pandemic, I think that technology, we really hopped on that technology train, and we were, it was a little scary at first when the pandemic happened. And then all of a sudden we're like, no, this is an opportunity, and we ended up acquiring 2 other agencies during that time of the pandemic. Wow. Because they were unwilling to change. So I think that everybody, if you're a business owner, anybody, an attorney, you have to be willing to change and adjust. And otherwise you're going to die. So so that's been really big for us, to call us. We'll help you with remote depots. We'll help you with exhibit management. We'll help you with any of these things. And
also being able to report our own, like being able to just talking with you about our experiences or how we perceive attorneys, or, all those things. Put another agency, think of one that you could sit here and not only have a business about owning a business, but have a conversation about owning a business, but have a conversation about what it's like to be in a depot or trial with that reporter, because we're reporter owned. It's pretty hard to find an agency that's court reporter owned right now. And so I think that's why Whitney and I get asked to do a lot of interviews. We were just interviewed for a couple magazines. And it's like that, it's because we can give the perspective of what it's like to own a business, and then what it's like to do what we, we actually do what we do in the business. Like we can give you both sides of the story. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes us different too, because if you put another agency on here, they only know the business side of it. They don't know the reporting side of it.
It probably allows you to empathize though, as well, with the court reporters that you have under your umbrella, and really understand, what they're going through, because you've gone through it. Yeah.
Well, not only empathize with the court reporters, but empathize with the attorneys. I think sometimes, like a lot of depot court reporters kind of go, I don't have time, or I'm on vacation. But I think that because we've been in a courtroom, we've been, on this other side of our friends are all attorneys. It's like, yeah, okay, but this for them is like life right now, And so I feel like that's kind of part of who we are, where it's like both sides. There's so much empathy on both sides, and so that's you call us, and you're gonna get that.
It's like when people tell me, I mean, I've been very lucky to try so many cases at such a young age, but it's when people tell me, you know, and it wasn't always pretty, but people tell me they want to be trial lawyers, but they're working 40 hours a week or something, or, you know, and I'm like, that's just not how it's going to work. And even when I was not in trial, it was studying other people and just being, you know, almost obsessed. But, you know, when you're trying to master a craft, and it requires that amount of work. So, you know, a court reporter saying they can't get a transcript done during the middle of a trial, it's, you know, for us trial lawyers,
it's frustrating. Yeah. Like, this is my life right now. I
know. Did you have any, either of you have any mentors sort of along the way, or even now that you
I had Whitney. Whitney's my only mentor. She got me to go to school, and then when I was done, it was like I got my letter that said, "You have passed the CSR. You're now a certified reporter." So I call Whitney, like, "All right, let's go." And she showed me everything.
I've been lucky. I got because I got out first.
That trial.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, you know, but I've had like really good court reporters in my life that have, you know, mentored me, and we kind of are this real tight knit community. I mean,
yeah,
we're a small community, and but I guess I would have to say my mentor would be my husband. I mean, honestly, he's a, you know, entrepreneur, and he works in the tech field. So he definitely has helped us a lot with, you know, business questions and tech questions. So, I mean, he's been really amazing.
But I was lucky because Whitney was like the best court reporter out there. She was like the most requested. She had done deposition trials. So it was like when I finished, I called this agency, and Whitney had left to go to court, and I called and I go, "I'm Kamryn. I just passed the state test." I go, "My twin sister is Whitney Kumar." They're like, "You're starting tomorrow." I got really lucky because it was like, there we go. My built-in best friend is now my built-in mentor.
You know what I have to say, and now I know this is crazy. You didn't start with it, you know, but I now work with Judge Judy, and she has actually been an amazing mentor. And I have to tell you, I have learned so much from that woman. I mean, you can be anything you want at any age, know your worth. I mean, like I've learned so much from working with her.
I actually wanted to get into that and learn a little bit more about it. And you talked about how, you know, when you were working at the LA Superior Court, like you had a courtroom family. And I think that vibe that in how just you guys are, that's why it translates through your, you know, court reporting firm. But how did that come about, where you ended up being, I mean, you just won an Emmy too, right?
I did.
So I don't know a lot of court reporters have won Emmys.
I think I might be the only court reporter that's ever won an Emmy. That's the difference. For court reporting.
Right.
Yeah, not even acting like a court reporter, but
I'm like an actual court reporter on a show.
Yeah. So are you actually doing court reporting on the Judge Judy show, or is it just acting?
No, I am. I do a little bit of this.
You could win an Emmy.
No, you know what? So when Judge Judy retired, and Amazon was like, "Well, we want to get your audience to follow us into the streaming world," and they wanted to do a show with her, and she said, "Well, this time I want a real courtroom setting. I want a clerk, I want a court reporter, bailiff." And so they found me through the power of networking. Let me say, you know, what our specialty, networking, and you meet people throughout your life, and you say yes to things. Like it's kind of crazy how they found me through the LACRA board. I mean, they must have Googled like court reporters in Los Angeles. So they found LACRA, which is the LA County Court Reporters Association, which is the union that represents the court reporters in the courts, you know, for LA County. And I had served on the board years ago. I mean, honestly, 14 years ago or something, but I still kept in contact with everyone. I still knew everyone. And so when they got that call and said, "We need a court reporter for this show," they said, "Well, try Whitney Kumar. She's, you know, we can't, our court reporters work for the county. They can't take days off to tape. You need an independent contractor." So they called me. And so I said yes. And I wound up on this new Judy Justice show, and I worked with Judge Judy. And I am actually taking down the record, and I'm a cast member. I am sit on stage with her. I am taking a real-time record, and anytime she needs read back, I mean, I have to be on it and be ready to read it back to her. And a camera's on my face. I got a camera on my real-time screen. It's pretty high pressure, but it's been so fun. It's been so fun. We got picked up for season 2, and our show just won an Emmy 2 weeks ago. So it's been very, very exciting.
So if people want to find you, they can find you in Judge Judy, and Kamryn, you might spot her on a billboard.
Yes.
Yeah. Or your insurance cards. We're on an
or a hand sanitizer in CVS.
The insurance welcome packet or whatever.
Yeah, I'm actually on the insurance cards though. So I've had reporters text me a picture of them going to the doctor and go, I can't get rid of you. Or Whitney.
I know.
I'm curious. I mean, being, a woman-owned business and you to have kids and families, how are you able to balance all of this? The networking, running a business, growing a business, being, part of it in reporting and just balance all these things, having, kids, and I'm sure there's, baseball games or, whatever you have to do.
Hard, let me tell you, it's hard. And
it's hard.
It's just hard. I don't even know what, everyone knows, and I think there's a little extra pressure on women. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you have to establish a really good support system. I mean, we're lucky that we have parents that are nearby, and they're very, very active in helping us with our children. And then I mean, it is, you have to learn how to balance. And I think that, like, I see a lot of these businessmen or leaders in our industry talking about, like, work never stops, work. And I think Kamryn and I have done actually a really good job, because I don't think that it has to be, at least we built our business and our life so that we weren't just nonstop hustle, work, always working. We were like, I don't want to always work, I want to work, that was not the life we wanted. And so I think we've done a pretty darn good job of making sure our we've been able to, sorry for so I had my office manager come in right now. So we've done a really good job setting up our business, where we've hired really good employees that we trust. We've hired people that we can delegate work to now. Before we were doing everything, and now I feel like we've really been able to release that power, like the control, and delegate. And so we now have created a business where it is not just work. I was taking my computer on every vacation. I was just always freaking working. Yeah. And now I can't even tell you, I go on vacation, I'm like, bye guys, I'm out. Don't
we're just talking about this. We're just talking about this too, about how we're like, don't you feel like we've really achieved the goal here, that we have a successful business and we are able to lead a really fun, enjoyable life and enjoy our kids and enjoy our life.
So I don't think that it has to be just work. I think for us, I think that you got to surround yourself with good people. You got to hire the right people that you trust, and you have to learn to delegate. And I think that was really hard for us for so long. And now we're like, let's delegate. Let's release some of the control and give it to other people. And so I think that's how we're now able to maintain that really good work family life balance.
I love it. Well, look, it was great just being able to chat about something we don't normally talk about, and I loved all the stuff that you're saying. If people want to find out more about you or follow you, or they want to hire you as a court reporter or your agency, where can they find you?
We'll go to our website, kwcourtreporting.com. Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, KW Court Reporting. I mean, we're everywhere. You can learn more about us. You could, private message us, email us, call us. We're always available 24/7.
And are you guys going to be speaking anywhere anytime soon?
Well, we just spoke in Iowa last week in Des Moines, believe it or not, which turned out actually.
Say yes.
Yes. And then next, we're speaking in 2 weeks.
Participating.
Then we're speaking in Orlando in 2 weeks at the National Court Reporting Convention. And we're speaking in Texas a few weeks after that, and maybe a Utah. We've got Utah maybe right now. But yeah, we're doing kind of a speaking tour this summer.
The tour we're on right now.
Right. Instead of Step Brothers, the itinerary, you guys are going worldwide. Worldwide.
We've been doing a lot more court reporting events than we have.
Yeah, you know what? We've always done attorney events, and right now there's a shortage. And now me being on this new show has really provided this opportunity to show people what court reporters do and show what this profession has to offer and how great it is. So we are taking that opportunity, riding that wave. So this year we are speaking at every court reporting convention we can, because we are trying to get the word out that this is such an amazing profession, career. So hopefully, we get some more people signed up and get some more reporters.
Yeah.
So it actually sounds like you may be, you may bring in a whole new group of court reporters by doing all this.
Yeah,
we hope so. That's our goal.
That's the goal.
We need like a bus. We need like a bus,
Yeah,
I was recently at the liquor store across the street from my house.
We gotta get the Bear Den bus, and we all go on tour together.
Yeah, and this bus, what I'm telling you is this bus pulls up, and it's this big image of Dennis Rodman, and it's all over the side of the bus, and it pulls up, and I'm inside like, what the heck? And then Dennis Rodman walks in, there's like cameras following him, and he's doing like some tour, I don't know, but he just drives around, and this bus has this big image of him, and I thought, Whitney and I need that. We need to we should be right around that bus, giving speaking engagements.
Good tour.
That'll
be next.
You gotta have your own fleet. You gotta have the Sprinter van. You gotta have
cameras following us at all time.
Awesome. Well, it was just great talking to you. Thanks so much for being on the podcast, and maybe there'll be a round 2 when you guys are worldwide, and we'll have to have you on. So thanks.
If we can fit you in then.
Maybe that's when we'll talk about my trial stories.
Then we'll be interviewing you next time. Yeah. Well, thanks for having us, Tom.
We really appreciate it.
Working with you. You're definitely the best,
and a great storyteller, and a great reader of people, I would say.
I appreciate it. Well, we don't need to promote me.
Great.
Thanks again.
Thank you.